If your eyes glaze over when you hear the term business analyst, perhaps Shahied Joseph can change your mind. He's looked at the business of business analysis and written a book called Business Analysis for Leaders. So it's one of those words like a change agent, a consultant across a range of different practices. And I started off by asking him exactly what business analysts actually do.
I think it's completely understandable given the fact that business analysis is a fairly new profession. It's not as established as the medical field, for example. But in essence, business analysis is the practice of managing requirements so that organizations can craft fit-for-purpose solutions that actually make sense for the organization on various levels.
So don't use any more of these business terms. So are you like a doctor that helps to solve business problems, maybe?
Absolutely. So in an organization, there will be a problem, and we will be those individuals helping organizations craft solutions for those problems, in essence.
Okay, and you talk about, you know, when things change, when legal requirements change, when customers want new things. You're also a go-between between the technical guys and the business guys. And I always think of the story that's told of some techie guys who built a huge aeroplane that couldn't fit on runways. So you have to have that go-between, basically.
Absolutely, and that's basically the role that we play. We play the role of managing the requirements, and when I say managing the requirements, it's basically eliciting the requirements and making sure that the requirements that's being implemented through solutions are actually what the customers asked to begin with. So we constantly check to see that the requirements are actually fit for purpose.
So this book is talking to other business analysts who run consultancies, companies. Just tell me a bit more.
Yep. So the book is basically geared at business analysts, but also at leaders. In the book, I basically implement or introduce a new framework. It's called the SPIRE framework. And the SPIRE framework is really a framework that helps leaders establish successful organizations. And I've used the framework in other organizations in South Africa, and it's proven to be very successful.
So it's not just for leaders in business analysis. SPIRE cuts across sectors, would you say, or work roles?
Definitely.
So tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, so the SPIRE framework is an industry agnostic framework. The acronym SPIRE, it basically stands for strategizing. So that's the S in SPIRE. The P stands for partnering with the right people. The I stands for implementing a way of work, and the R in SPIRE stands for review performance, and the E stands for engender the need. So I can briefly talk through each one of those if you want.
I guess the overall thing is that you start by getting the building blocks right, well, coming up with the right strategy, and then it's about implementing successfully and ensuring that you don't just leave loose ends hanging, basically.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Yep. And that very first building block, the strategizing, is so important because that's where you as a leader basically set the vision for your team or for your organization. And that vision is what gives focus to your team or to every other piece of work that's going to be happening within a project, for example. We also say the vision needs to be accompanied by goals. And in the book, I mentioned SMART goals, and those goals need to have strategies so you can implement them. So in the book, I mentioned very practical ways that you can actually realize that.
Okay, what's the main lesson here, do you think, for leaders?
The main lesson for leaders is for leaders to realize that they are accountable, that they are in a position of accountability, and that's so important. And I find that many leaders in organizations sort of fail to realize and appreciate that. And then this book definitely will be helpful in that regard.
You talk about this word that's often bandied about, again, transformational leadership. What is that?
Transformational leadership is basically it's looking at leadership from a change perspective. Within business analysis, there is a lot of change management involved, and for you to be a transformational leader, it's all about being aware of the changes that's happening in your environments. And that environment could be in your macro environment, or it could be on a macro environment where, for example, our political landscapes may have changed or the economy may have changed.
So you don't miss trends and things basically going on around you.
Absolutely. It's just really having that awareness.
What do you think of South African business? Because you deal with change management, dealing with problems. You've worked overseas as well. How innovative, how responsive are South African businesses being right now?
I think South Africa has got a wealth of opportunities. I don't always think that we take up the opportunities. That's why we often find that foreign nationals come into the country and they can see the opportunities that we have. So I think we don't always appreciate what we have, the wealth of resources, for example, and the skills that we have also. But there's absolutely a wealth of resources in South Africa.
There must be opportunities with service. I mean, I've just had a recent encounter with my mobile provider, and it just leaves me so cold. So I guess there's so many opportunities of how to respond to customers that we're not taking. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think customer service is the heart of any service organization. And I don't think we're always the best of that. I think there's still a lot of opportunities where we need to realize the value that our customers are adding to organizations.
That was author Shahied Joseph, and it's been great to have you with us on Business Review.